Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got our daily best bets for college basketball, and here for December 3rd after a 5-0 day yesterday. Yes, a 5-0 day yesterday with our best bets. We are back for more here for this December 3rd slate, and we've got some really good games today on Tuesday, but some even better games tomorrow on this college basketball slate as well. So make sure to join us again tomorrow for these college basketball best bets. And real quick, before we get into the video, I just gotta say it real quick. Thank you for 20,000 subscribers. Real short. Stuff like that is what makes this, 3:26 in the morning grind worth it. Honestly, I genuinely do appreciate it. And of course, I'll get the full, if you care, we'll get the full 20,000 subscriber special video kind of on the channel, probably on Thursday. And again, we're going to do some sort of giveaway on YouTube/Instagram. So make sure to follow on Instagram. Link is in the description down below. And again, we will get the official giveaway and everything going and really set up on Thursday. So be on the lookout for that, the 20K subscriber special. But of course, we've got more daily college basketball best bets. In an hour, we will have, that's coming out later today, our college football predictions with every single conference championship for college football this week, obviously ranging from the SEC to the ACC to the Big Ten. We will have that on the channel later today around 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And of course, the NBA predictions are coming on the channel in about an hour. And our UFC 310 Pantoja versus Asakura predictions are on the channel as well. They're posted on Sunday night. Okay, the first of our 5 games here for college basketball, and we start things off at Villanova. We like the 14th ranked Cincinnati Bearcats to go to Pennsylvania and beat Villanova and do it pretty easily. I know that might be a little bit of a hot take, but at the same time, Nova's not played good basketball this season. They've burnt us before this year. We unsuccessfully took them to beat St. Joseph's. We lost the St. Joe's game. Now we're going to fade the Villanova Wildcats just because they haven't played great basketball this season. For Cincinnati, I'll say they're unproven. Be honest, they're really unproven. The win at Georgia Tech is big. It was a big victory. They won it by 23 points. That's why Cincinnati, obviously preseason, and obviously because of that game against Georgia Tech, that's why they have the respect that they have in the rankings. Other than that, yes, Cincinnati has not beat a great team yet this season, which could mean one of two things. They aren't as good as we thought they were going to be in the preseason, or B, they're even better than we thought they were in the preseason because they've won all these games handedly, and it's just they haven't gotten a chance to really prove themselves against a good team. They play Villanova tonight on the road. It's at 3:30. It's one of the early games on FS1. Then they get, Xavier later in the month, or next week. Dayton. They're at K-State at the end of the year. And then, of course, the Big 12 gauntlet starts for Cincinnati. They go, Arizona to Baylor, Kansas. That's obviously in January. But really, the non-conference for Cincinnati isn't the hardest, really. And this is, honestly, maybe Dayton is their toughest game. But this, again, on the road, a test against Villanova, this is not a rough game, but it's a difficult game. Obviously, again, Cincinnati is getting 3.5 points in this basketball game, and we think they're going to cover it. I really do think they're going to. Nova, again, a 4-4 team this season out the Big East. They've been very disappointing. I'll make the case right now, Nova's looking like one of the worst teams in the conference. And obviously, again, we're not going to truly know that until conference play starts. Obviously, they're not as bad as Seton Hall. Trust me, they're not. But Nova just hasn't played great basketball this season. They haven't. It's been all Eric Dixon. Once you get past Eric Dixon, there's nothing really going much for this Nova squad. Dixon's averaging like 25.5 points a game. Again, it's crazy. He's putting up crazy numbers, averaging 25 points, 6 boards, 2 assists. And it's him, and it's really just all Eric Dixon, if we're being honest. Yeah, there are supporting guys on this team, but Nova, again, the 4-4 record. They beat Lafayette. They lose at home against Columbia. Beat the New Jersey Institute of Technology, lose to St. Joe's, lose to Virginia, beat UPenn. They lose to Maryland in a 1-point game, and they beat Rider by 30-something points on Wednesday. And I get it, again, Cincinnati has not played the best teams, but they've won all of their games so far this season. And I'll be honest, they haven't played a close game all year, even at Georgia Tech. And make what you want at Georgia Tech, an up-and-down team of sorts, I get it. But still, they went on the road to an ACC school and beat them pretty easily. Again, the Bearcats have not had a close game so far this season. Why do we think Villanova is going to be the first one? Sure, the game's at Nova, yes. But I've seen this team play this year against St. Joseph's, against Virginia. They have not looked great. Given, again, my sample size of watching the games live for Villanova aren't the greatest. I'll be honest with you. Yes, the only 2 games I've watched live for Nova this year have been the St. Joe's games and the Virginia game. but they have struggled to shoot all season long at points. And again, once you get beyond their star player and Eric Dixon, there's not much going on for this Villanova squad. If Cincinnati is able to shut down Dixon, I do think they win the basketball game, and I do think they win it fairly easily. So give me the Bearcats to go on the road to Villanova. They will cover this 3.5 point line. And obviously, we like them to win the game outright as well. Give me the Bearcats. Next up, we do get some small school basketball. There is a giant slate today, and of course, trust me, we're going to get back to the big games on ESPN between the power teams, but this is the one small school basketball game we are featuring in today's video. It is High Point University going to Greensboro, North Carolina to take on UNC Greensboro. Now, I'm not going to lie, one of the main things that pops into my head when I think of High Point University, I kid you not, is the video that the Costco guys did at High Point University about how great their dining halls were. I kid you not. I actually, that's one of the first things that pops into my head about High Point University. That's not the first, though. The first thing, honestly, that I think about High Point University is their choke job last year in their conference tournament to Longwood. All right? I don't remember how big of favorites they were. I remember I had money on High Point. They were 7.5 point favorites. Yes, it was a 9 a.m. game. It's one of those games. It's going to sound so degenerate, but let's call it what it is. All right. I think, was I on spring break? I think I was on spring break. I can check. I think I was on spring break. And it's one of those games, you know, I'm not going to get up in time to watch this game, but you see it the night before. I was like, all right, High Point 13-3 in conference, so taking on the 6-10 Longwood Lancers. High Point should be fine. They should dominate this game. I got to make sure this was during when I think it was. Yes, this was, yep, this was like one of my first nights back for spring break last year. Okay. All right. Okay, let me break this down for you. So yes, High Point's 13-3 in conference. They are the #1 seed in the Big South tournament, I think. Right? They had to be #1. Yeah, the #1 seed in the Big South tournament. They beat Radford in their first game, and now they get Longwood here in this tournament. They are getting 7.5 points. I was like, all right, High Point's going to win this game easily. I kid you not, this is what happened. Now, this is some of the most degenerate stuff you can do. Again, I have learned in the last year. But this game started at 9 a.m. I was like, all right, I'm just going to wake up, and I'm going to wake up to free money. It doesn't always go that way. But I wake up, and like, the game, I think it's like a minute left in the second half. I wake up, and I see Longwood's up by 2 points. Like, what is going on here? You know? So, you know what I do? I'm half asleep. This is like 10:30. I'm half asleep. 10:30 in the morning. I'm half asleep, and I go, you know what, let me just put some money on High Point University. I went to bed, forgot about it. I woke up and like an hour later and saw they lost in overtime. I've been so disappointed in High Point ever since. Now, they did kind of prove themselves in the CBI tournament. They beat Cleveland State, who's horrible, but last year they were better. They beat Arkansas State, and they lost in the championship game to Seattle University. We faded them in the Seattle University game because, you know, that's the only CBI game I watched last year. Regardless, High Point's much better this season, so I don't know why I just gave you that tangent. Well, it's just the first thing that came to mind about High Point University. That and here comes the boom. High Point's way better though than UNC Greensboro. So that was a long-winded way to get here. Am I missing something? I'm gonna be honest with you. Am I missing something? Because everything that I've seen for this basketball game indicates to me High Point's winning it. Other than that, this game is at Greensboro. Other than that, I don't understand why we are getting even odds here on High Point University. Let's just, you know what, guys? Let's do this together. Let's do this together. Let's see if I'm missing something here. I'm High Points University basketball. Is someone injured? Is there like a scandal going around the school right now? No. I mean, well, let's go to their official website, because that's just how much the odds don't make sense to me. I'm serious. These odds don't make sense. High Point will make short trip to UNC Greensboro for this basketball game. Injuries? No. I'm so confused. Why are we getting these odds? I mean, we'll take it, but here comes the boom. We're taking High Point University. Guys, this is a High Point team that's 8-1 this season. I get it. Have they beat anybody good? Not really. But they beat Jackson State, UAB, American University. Their losses to Missouri State. They beat Old Dominion, Hampton. They won by 3 points. UNC Greensboro, guys, this is how I dictate how bad they are. They lost to San Jose State. Guys, San Jose State is not a good basketball team. They just aren't. Okay? Trust me, I keep track of San Jose State basketball. They are Will McClendon, and that's about it. Will McClendon, their only guy on their team. Okay? And UNC Greensboro lost to San Jose State. They did beat the Beach, Long Beach State, but Long Beach State is, Devin Askew and the guys, it's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment to the state of California what Long Beach State's been doing this year in basketball. Okay, I don't care. Greensboro only lost by 11 points to the Indiana Hoosiers. Guys, you're not going to find a bigger Hoosiers guy right now than me. All right, of course, right after I leave the school. But regardless, okay, I love Curtis Rourke. I love the football program. Guys, Indiana basketball, we are going to be fading all year long. Okay, I trust in Kurt Signetti in the football program. I do not trust in Mike Woodson in the basketball program. Why is UNC Greensboro getting even odds with High Point University in this game? I don't understand it. We are taking the High Point Panthers. We're taking Demarion Williams and the guys here. Williams averaging 16.5 points a game. Kezek Giffa averaging 16 points a game as well. Juselin Bodo was their leading rebounder last season. I believe he had like 15 boards in the CBI championship game last year. He is their leading rebounder this season. Again, obviously he is, their main big on their team. He'll give them 23 minutes a night. He is a sophomore power forward who's 7 feet tall from Cameroon. We like the High Point Panthers a lot in this basketball game. I don't understand the odds. Hopefully this isn't a complete trap. We're taking High Point to go into Greensboro and win this basketball game. And technically they're 1.5 point dogs. We're taking the money line. Give me High Point University. Here comes the boom. Next up, we go on to Big Ten play. Yes, conference play starts now in the Big Ten Conference. College basketball, I'm not going to say it peaks with Big Ten basketball, but Big Ten Conference play, I'll be honest, it doesn't get much better than this. Now, again, this starts the Peacock doubleheaders now in the NBC, no, NBC doesn't do it. Peacock doubleheaders, obviously NBC owns Peacock, but, or the same parent company, who cares? There's Iowa taking on Northwestern earlier on today. Boo Booey's gone. We don't really care about Northwestern basketball anymore, I'm gonna be honest. This is the game we care about in the Big Ten tonight. We care about Wisconsin, Michigan. This is a big-time basketball game from Madison. The Badgers getting 2.5 points in this game. They are undefeated 8-0. Obviously, their marquee victory this season, a 15-point win against at the time, number 9 ranked Arizona Wildcats. They beat UCF last week. They beat Pitt. They're coming off a monumentous victory, I'm joking, over Chicago State. And as you look at the Michigan Wolverines, they've been almost perfect this season. They're only lost a 2-point loss to the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest. Wins over TCU, Miami of Ohio, VTech. By the way, Miami of Ohio cashed for us yesterday over Air Force, just saying. And a win in their last game over ranked number 22 Xavier by 25 points. Yeah, Michigan's been playing good basketball. I'll give them that. Again, obviously a much better start to the season this year than last year. I mean, they were dead in the water by this time last year. Trey Donaldson leading the team in points with 13 a night. Roddy Gale going to give them 12, getting 11 a night. Added Danny Wolf, who's also averaging basically a double-double as well, giving them 11 points and 9.9 rebounds a game. Essentially a double-double a night for their starting center in Danny Wolf. But I like what the Badgers are doing this year, man. I do. They've been playing great basketball. They're 8-0. You still got, of course, some guys from last season. Steven Crowell is still around. I believe, it was Klesmit was there last season, right? If I'm not mistaken. I could be completely mistaken. I'm pretty sure Klesmit was there too, right? Yes, Klesmit's a former Warford guy. Averaged 15 points a game there. Now he is here at Wisconsin as well. Their leading scorer, Tunge, is going to give them 23 points a night as well. He has been balling so far this season. The senior out of Omaha, Nebraska, has taken that step this season, was not really a factor last year at the University of Missouri. Averaged 2 points a game. Obviously was a big-time player with the Colorado State Rams a couple of seasons ago. He has come to Wisconsin. He has been the guy. He's been the two guard for this team and their leading scorer. And he's going to be the best scorer on this court as well. I don't think Michigan's able to keep up with Wisconsin. I get it. Michigan plays good defense. Wisconsin's just got the way better scorers. I just think I'm not going to say it's a blowout. I just think Wisconsin's going to be able to put up more points in this basketball game. I don't think Michigan's able to keep up. I get it again. Michigan plays great defense. Will they be able to lock down Wisconsin on the perimeter and inside? I don't think so. I just think, again, Wisconsin's going to be able to really run the score up. And honestly, I'm not even going to say a love-hate relationship with Wisconsin athletics. I have just a hate relationship with Wisconsin athletics. I have never been able to pick Wisconsin games right. So, as a disclaimer, we're just going to blame Wisconsin if this doesn't hit. But I have been so bad at picking Wisconsin football games, Wisconsin basketball games, I would say baseball games, but I've never bet on Wisconsin baseball. let's hope they finally come through for us. Whenever I've ever taken Wisconsin in a huge game, last year, Indiana in football, Indiana in basketball, I took Wisconsin both times. I took them to cover against Penn State earlier this year in football. They have never come through. Well, damn it, it's time from the boys from Madison. We need the Badgers to take care of business. They're getting 2.5 points. 2.5 points at home. This should be a gimme for the Wisconsin Badgers to kick off Big Ten play. They get Marquette in a couple days. Let's go. Wisconsin's got to get it done. 2.5 points at home. They will beat the Michigan Wolverines. Let's move on to our next game here. It's a big one. It's a big one considering the way Louisville played last week. They're taking on the number 23 ranked Ole Miss Rebels, who are coming off that 2-point loss to Purdue last week. Both these teams, I would say, played pretty solid last week, of course. Louisville got to that tournament final in the Bahamas. Yes, it was in the Bahamas. I think it was the Bahamas. I think it was. They played Indiana. They won. Chucky Hepburn had one hell of a tournament. Okay, yeah, it was the Bahamas tournament. Chucky Hepburn had one hell of a tournament, right? Of course, that WVU game is the one that sticks out. 32 points in that game for Chucky Hepburn. But the win over Indiana, complete domination of the Hoosiers. 89-61 victory over the ranked Indiana Hoosiers. They beat West Virginia by 9 points in overtime, and then they just run into the Oklahoma Sooners and lose. That's fine. Again, I think Louisville, they proved themselves in that tournament. Sure, again, the Oklahoma loss, it is what it is. Close game. I was kind of, I'll be honest, I was against picking Louisville early in the season. I'll be the first to admit. I watched the Tennessee game, not impressed. It was just a bad night. It was just a bad night for the Louisville Cardinals. This is not a bad basketball team. Chucky Hepburn, I didn't think was going to have this much success. Obviously, we just talked about his former team, the Wisconsin Badgers. I didn't think he was going to have this much success with Louisville this season, but he's been doing pretty damn well for himself so far this season. Keyshawn Pryor's been doing okay. Terrence Edwards Jr. on this team as well. You look at what Ole Miss has got. Obviously, again, they played Purdue down to the wire in their last game. We told you Purdue was going to win that basketball game, but Ole Miss playing very well prior to that game. Beat Colorado State by 15 points. Beat Oral Roberts. Beat Brigham Young in overtime by 11 points. And, of course, that loss to Purdue. But Ole Miss is playing good basketball this season. Jalen Murray going to give them 14.5 points tonight. You're getting 13 out of Matthew Morrell. Sean Padula averaging 13 points a night as well. This Ole Miss squad is a good team. They are a good basketball team. My thing with this, though, I think both these teams are very evenly matched. We're going to need a huge night, by the way. We're picking Louisville. We're going to need a huge night out of Chucky Hepburn. The difference in this basketball game, trust me, is that the game is in the KFC Yum Arena. I've been there before. It's great. They've got some finger-licking good chicken. There we go. Taking Louisville. We're taking Louisville in the KFC Yum Center. I'm going to. I think, again, I think these teams are evenly matched, but the difference in this basketball game is that Ole Miss has got to go to Kentucky for this game. Louisville's at home. It's a big game. I think the atmosphere's got to be huge. We're taking Chucky Hepburn, and we are hoping Chucky Hepburn has a big night. We're taking the Louisville Cardinals to win the game and cover the 3.5 points against the number 23 ranked Ole Miss Rebels. As we go into our final game of the video, we go to possibly the biggest game of the night. In Clemson, South Carolina, you've got the Clemson Tigers hosting the number 4 ranked Kentucky Wildcats. Is Kentucky as good as their ranking indicates? That's the question. They're ranked where they are because of the Duke victory, obviously. Now, that's just a matter of where do you want to rank Duke right now. Top 10, I think, is fair for Duke. Obviously, their only losses being to Kentucky and being to Kansas. We told you, by the way, Kansas was going to win that basketball game. I'm just saying. I'm fine. I'm honestly fine with the Kentucky ranking right now. Clemson, 7-1 this season. Their only loss, Boise, is a 13-point loss to the Boise State Broncos. They've played teams close this season. I mean, they blew out San Francisco, which is expected because the Dons are not very good. They beat Penn State by 8 points. They're coming off a 28-point victory over the Florida A&M. I think they're the Vipers. I think they are, over Florida A&M. Clemson's look good this season. They're 7-1. I just think Kentucky's better. I think Kentucky's better. Chase Hunter has been averaging 16.5 points a game for Clemson. If Clemson's going to win this basketball game, they are going to need a big night out of their sixth-year senior, yes, in Chase Hunter. He has been here pre-COVID, so obviously he got the pandemic year. But what has Kentucky done this season, right? They've been dominant. A 103-62 victory over Wright State. A 28-point win over Bucknell, who, you might think it's Bucknell. Hey, Bucknell's got some players, man. They've got one player. If you've ever watched the Bucknell Bison play this year, they have one guy. It's Noah Williamson, and he does everything for Bucknell. That's literally their entire team. I'll be honest, I haven't watched a Bucknell game in a little bit. I'd assume Williamson's still doing his thing. The 2 games I watched, he was balling. Yeah, Noah Williamson is still their entire team. They cannot score without that guy. But anyways, Kentucky beats them by 28 points. They beat Duke, they beat Lipscomb, they beat Jackson State, they beat a tournament team last year and the winners of the CUSA and the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. They beat them 87-68 in that little in-state rivalry game, and not rivalry, but in-state game, and they beat Georgia State in the last game. Kentucky scores points, guys. They have put up 104 times this year. Their lowest scoring game is the 77-72 victory over Duke. How is Clemson going to keep up? With Owe, with Kobe Brea, with Lamont Butler, Jackson Robinson, Andrew Carr, Amari Williams. There's just too many guys who can score for Kentucky. And for Clemson, I feel like, again, yeah, Chase Hunter, Ian Shefflin. Other than that, what does Clemson have? I just think Kentucky outmatches this team. I don't really care this game's at Clemson. I don't. When teams are evenly matched, we usually side with the home team just because it can travel, home court advantage. I don't think these 2 teams are evenly matched. I'm not just saying that purely because, oh, Kentucky's ranked and Clemson's not. No, that's not it. But at the same time, there's a reason Kentucky's ranked 4th. They're a really good team. We've seen them in a big-time game so far this season. They beat Duke. Now they get a big-time game on the road at Clemson. And you know what they have later this week? Gonzaga. That is a huge basketball game on Saturday. Kentucky and Gonzaga. Now I know Gonzaga lost in their tournament in the Bahamas, but still, that's still a big-time basketball game. So there's games coming up from the Wildcats. This is just the beginning. I think they take care of business. Give me Kentucky to go on the road to Clemson, win the basketball game. They are getting 2.5 points. They will cover that as well. We are going with the SEC zone and the Kentucky Wildcats to take care of business in Clemson, South Carolina. So folks, thank y'all for watching our 5 best bets for college basketball here on December 3rd. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back for our NBA predictions in just an hour. So folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.